Okay.
I can take that radio thing to her house, and I know she'll
Well,
put it
I just started the broadcast. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. We missed you on Sunday.
And I missed you on Sunday. I will tell you that
Helen was great.
Helen was great. I did watch live online. I will tell you, Helen, I apologize. We have all the audio, but there was a thing that happened with our software, and the video was not captured. It's all messed up. But we have audio for the full service. So I apologize that we can't give you any video, but I'm happy to put up audio for you.
Did you?
I'm going to. I haven't quite finished putting it up yet. How is everyone?
Good.
I want to say hello to everybody who's online. I don't know. Let me look and see how many people do we have online. We have a bunch of people online. I love it. Well, I tell you, you do a class for free and people show up. You do a class that has prosperity in the title, people show up.
Yes. And
Right?
free too.
Yes.
Free prosperity, yeah.
Well, let's. How many of you are familiar with the science of mind? Hey, I just want to make sure. Let me know online too. One of the things that we do within these classes, I always start with prayer. We call it spiritual mind treatment in science of mind. For those of you who may not be as familiar, but I always start with prayer, just to ground us and center us into the space right where we are. So I invite you to take a breath, and if it's comfortable, you can close your eyes. Simply be present right where you are. Relax right into your chair. Allow yourself to feel the moment. Feel the air. Feel your breath. And simply focus on this present moment. Let go of anything that has preceded this moment. Let go of anything you anticipate. Let go of any preconceived notions you have about tonight. Just let go, release, and allow. I know there is only one thing going on, and that is divine spirit. It is the creative energy of the universe. It is the source of all things. It is the thing itself, God. It is love. It is light. It is energy. It is coursing through everything. It is infinite, so there's nothing that is separated from this energy. Nothing. Nothing is separated from this energy. And I know that every single one of us, every single person who is touched by this class, who is experiencing this class in whatever way they experience, is a perfect individualized expression of this divine energy, moving forward and evolving into new ways of being, each of us perfectly, brilliantly, easily, effortlessly in our lives. For we are the life of this creative source of all things. And we are expressing as it. There is no separation between us and it. And so the word I speak right here, right now, is a word of power, and it is a word of truth, for it is spoken as the creative source with a recognition that there is no separation. And so I speak my word right here for the perfect expression of this workshop, of this thing called prosperity in the lives of every single person here, in the lives of every single person watching online, in the lives of every single person who is touched by this, by the archives online, every single person who is touched by this idea of prosperity that we all resonate with right here and right now. It is a good thing, and it is constantly unfolding for our benefit. For the benefit is infinite, and each of us grabs hold of the benefit of prosperity right here in this moment and moves forward with it. This is what I stand for in this moment. My word spoken, I know, is a complete and done deal. And so I'm grateful for this. I allow myself to be steeped with gratitude, recognizing that gratitude is the gasoline of this engine of forward momentum. And so I simply release this word to a law that corresponds perfectly to the word spoken, knowing it is complete in and of itself, for it has been spoken. I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. Are you all you're gonna be the kids in the back of the classroom, I suppose? So, this is going to be a little bit different from the classes I normally teach, because normally I sit here and I read from the book, and then I talk about what I think about from the book, and then I ask you, what do you think about from the book? This is going to be a little bit more interactive, this experience. I love Edwene Gaines. I love Edwene Gaines. I think she is a brilliant, brilliant woman. She changed my life. I have seen her in person a number of times. And of course, you all know that part of the reason that this course has come about is because she was supposed to be our guest this coming Sunday and was not able to come. So, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So here we are, stepping ourselves into prosperity through her teaching, through her book. So let me ask you first of all, what is prosperity? This is interactive, so I expect answers. And if you're online, type in, what is prosperity?
That's a good one.
All needs met. Yeah. Does everyone agree with that? Prosperity is all needs met.
Yes, I like it.
More.
Richness in happiness,
richness in health, richness in happiness, richness in money. Contentment. It's an interesting one.
It's also surplus.
It's also surplus. All right, so more. More and more and more. Can you ever have more than God?
No, because we are God.
All right. There will be a question that comes up in a little bit.
Abundance.
Abundance. What does that mean?
Abundant everything.
Abundant everything.
Don't want for anything.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts about what is prosperity? What does it mean to you? Yeah.
Freedom in mind, body, spirit, and wallet.
Freedom in mind, body, spirit, and wallet. Awesome. I like that a lot.
That'd be a new T-shirt.
That could be a good T-shirt, yes. I will expect you to make it. I will expect you to give full credit to Sharon. And we'll sell it in the bookstore, if you're okay with that. There. We've now just made a prosperous idea come into form.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sounds good.
I also say to influence the close people around you in prosperity. Like, the aspect of prosperity is to help out your fellow community, the ones that are close to you, around you. That is the part of it.
That is, I believe that is true. Being prosperous means giving, right? It means giving of your time, your talent, and your treasure. This is one of the rules by which I live my own life. So, something to consider. Any other ideas around what is prosperity?
It's like an energy that comes and goes. Like it's like a constant flow of, I would say, good energy.
A constant flow of good energy. A constant flow of good energy. Just feel that for a minute. A constant flow of good energy.
Sounds like the wave actions of an ocean.
Aha! And isn't it funny, well, not funny, it's actually very much on purpose, that we refer to money as currency, coming from current, because it is a reciprocal action. It is like a wave. So here's a twist on the question. When do you feel prosperous?
For me, all the time.
All the time, okay?
It's a choice.
It's a choice. All right.
And perception.
It's a choice and perception. Great. So when do you feel prosperous? Most of the time.
Specifically, like we.
No, I want you to. I don't want you to be specific ever. I want you to be very general. No, actually, I do. Yes,
okay.
Specific. I'm looking for specifics here.
When I feel prosperous, when I'm getting paid that I earned every penny that comes down to it.
The money says on payday.
On payday. On payday.
Yeah.
When you take money for what you have for the work you've done, that makes you feel prosperous. Okay. Yeah.
When I'm giving away.
When you're giving away,
Yeah.
because you have it to give, right? Okay. Right. Yeah.
When you when you have a lot of opportunities to again to make money, to express your talents, when it just comes and comes and you know.
Okay. When an opportunity comes and it keeps showing up for you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Helping people relieve
When I feel completely free to do exactly what I want, whenever I want to do it without any concern.
Okay. When you
Living
feel.
the life I want to live and just doing it.
Mm-hmm. Hold on to that idea. What did you say?
helping people relieve pain emotionally and physically, and as they come in, but as when they leave to see someone like a therapist or so.
Okay.
It's helping other people get over what they've already come in to contact with other people with, if that makes sense.
Okay. Great.
Sorry.
None. Okay, first of all, there are no apologies. You don't have to apologize to me ever. I know it's a Canadian thing. You apologize for everything. That's what I hear. And I've gotten into the habit, I will tell you. I apologize for everything now. Yeah.
And this person of mine, Chris Glass, says, I'm unemployed right now, so when I have a job.
When you have a job, that's when you feel prosperous. Okay. Yes.
I don't think prosperity necessarily has to tie to money. I feel very prosperous in the love and the support that I have during a challenging time in my life. I'm very blessed with
Yes.
love.
One of my notes here, it says, important. Prosperity is not just about money.
No.
So I'm glad you brought that up, and we will be addressing that.
Along those lines, I feel prosperous when I'm doing something that I love. And if it costs, and if I'm spending money on it, that's good. That means that I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm eating fair trade organic blueberries.
That's very specific. And absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to go back to what Judy said. Right?
Okay.
What did you say? You said when you can. No,
What did I say? I said
You
when I feel prosperous when I can live the life I want to live. I can do what I want to do, go where I want to go, do everything I want to do without any concern, and
Okay.
just do.
All right, so then here's the follow-up question to that. What keeps you from doing that?
Who says I'm not?
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I try to do that,
right?
and when I find myself in that mindset when I'm doing that, things come into my life as needed.
Okay. So,
Amazingly.
amazing. Well, amazingly. I love that. Are there times, though,
Yeah.
when you feel the restriction? Because
Yes.
here's the thing.
Yes.
There are times when I feel the restriction.
Yes. Yes.
It's money.
Is it money? Is it always money?
No.
No.
It's responsibility and obligation.
Living the life, as Judy described, usually what holds me back would be things I can't afford.
Things you can't afford.
Or I think, all right, I know
You,
what you're
yeah, I know.
Oh.
Things that you think you can't afford.
Yes.
Right. Well, here's the way this philosophy works. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Oh, I think.
That's Henry Ford. I will make sure that I give credit where credit is due. That's a Henry Ford quote. So ultimately what it comes down to is belief and decision and the state of your mind and the tendency, the habitual thoughts that are going on in your mind. You all know, those of you who who come to Sundays, all know that I talk about the tendency of thought all the time. I don't care if you demonstrate $1 million and that's the one demonstration you ever make in your life. If that's the only thing that you ever demonstrate, what is the tendency of your thought doing? Because is that one thing going to make you happy? Well, it might. Don't deny that.
Wow.
It might for a while. But if the tendency of your thought is in destructive patterning,
You'll use it.
it doesn't matter. Because the quality of your life. See, for me, prosperity is having a high quality of life. That's really what I believe. Now, Edwene Gaines says, this is her, did you all read the first?
Yeah.
Did you read the introduction?
Yes, it was
Okay,
so good.
yes. So here's what she writes. This is her definition of prosperity. A vitally alive physical body to provide a comfortable worldly home for the spiritual beings we are. That's number one. Number 2, relationships that are satisfying, nurturing, honest, and work all the time. 3, work that we love so much that it's not work, it's play. And 4, all the money we can spend.
Sounds awesome. That's good.
Does that sound good to you?
Yes.
Fabulous.
All right. Her contention is that if you follow these 4 spiritual laws, this is what you will experience in life. So, here's my first question, because we talk about the 4 spiritual laws of prosperity, right? That's what she's saying. There are 4 spiritual laws of prosperity. So what is a law?
A limit. No.
Something you follow.
Something you follow. Why do you follow it?
Because it works.
Because it works. All right. So, I will get to you in just a second. There is something that she talks about in the introduction where she talks about you got to get somewhere, and the speed limit is 60, well, I was going to say 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. You got to get there, right? 100 kilometers an hour, but that's a limit, right? You're only supposed to go 100 kilometers an hour. So is it a requirement that you follow that?
No.
Why?
Well, there are consequences.
There are consequences if you don't. If you get caught.
Yes.
Aha. So, are there consequences for not engaging in line with, there was another thought that was coming to me, are there consequences for not engaging in rapport with the natural laws of life?
Yes. Absolutely.
If I carry the pitcher and I don't, and there's a law of gravity, right? There are consequences if I let go of the pitcher. It's going to fall and break and shatter. Or maybe not shatter, but I'd get a little wet.
Karma.
Karma.
Bad karma.
Well, I will encourage you to not think about karma as being good or bad.
Yes.
I will encourage you to think of karma as karma. That for every cause, there's always an effect. We're the ones who make decisions about whether or not it's good or bad. Right? But there's always going to be a consequence of some sort. It'll always... What we teach is a law of cause and effect. For everything that happens in your experience, there is cause back of it. And we teach that the cause is in mind, first and foremost. Okay? So, what are laws in life that you take for granted? Gravity. You don't ever have to think about gravity.
Yeah.
Ever. It's always working for you, right?
So
Thank
far.
goodness. What are other laws that you might take for granted?
Health. Health.
Health. Is health a law? I can tell you it's related to a law. Because I'm actually now thinking this through in my own mind. Is health a law? Yeah.
I think the law is we tend to move toward good health.
And why is that, do you think?
Well, I learned that a long time ago. Now I think it's just one example of the givingness of the universe and how we are always moving to something better.
Okay, great. What I will suggest is that the nature of the creative source of everything, you can call it God. Let's get over the G word real fast. Because I do tend to call it God. So when I say God, I'm not talking about a man in the sky. I'm talking about the creative source of the universe. The creative source of the universe is always healthful. It is always in balance, fully in balance and healthful. If we experience disease, if we experience something outside of that, it is because of a cause that started in our own individualized use of mind. And so we simply live the effect of that cause. Now, there will be people who say, but I have this chronic condition, right?
Yeah.
You'll hear that. And I don't want to discount, I really don't want to discount people's experiences. But I do believe that the chronic condition can be cured through the use of the mind only. That's what I believe. And I've seen it demonstrated in people's experience. So, ultimately, what is coming up to support the healing of the individual? If it's going to the doctor, go to the doctor. But ultimately, the tendency of the universe is to always move in the direction of health. The tendency of the universe is infinite abundance. The tendency of the universe is brilliant relationships between individualized expressions of itself. And the tendency of the universe is, let me see, I did health, I did creative expression, I didn't do creative expression. And the tendency of the universe is to always be expressing at all times, without fail. It never stops. And we're the ones who are in charge of how that expression shows up in our lives. So if you want to be prosperous, start thinking prosperously. That's really how simple this can be. And when you start to find yourself going off track of prosperous thinking, you can get yourself back on track. That's the great news about the fact that we are at choice. We can put ourselves right back on track at any time just by rethinking the erroneous thought. I'm going to turn this down. I'm actually a little cold.
It is cool.
Okay, I'm going to turn this down a little bit.
It's not hot.
Because I'm in short sleeves and I move a lot, right? And I'm actually a little cold. All right. So the natural tendency of the universe is that it operates based on these laws. So Edwin talks about 4 spiritual laws. Here are the 4 laws. I'm sure you've all read them already. Here are the 4 laws. Number 1, brace yourselves. Grip down tight, because this is the one that gets most people.
That's right.
You must tithe 10% of all that you receive to the person, place, or institution where you have received your spiritual food. That's number 1. Now, what ends up happening, I'm going to get to the other 3. What ends up happening is a lot of people will look at that as the first part, and they'll say,
Skip it.
or they won't skip it. They won't skip it. They'll say, oh, I can't listen to the rest of what she has to say. Right? Number 2, the second spiritual law. You must set clear-cut, tangible goals. Number 3, here's one that is big for a lot of people. It's not big for me. You must forgive everyone all the time, especially yourself. Good.
Working on it.
Who's in mental muscle with me, or who has taken mental muscle with me? What's the phrase that I use all the time in mental muscle?
Let yourself off the
off.
hook.
Let yourself off the hook. That's an act of forgiveness, because we can beat ourselves up so quickly and so easily. Let yourself off the hook. And forgive others. If there's a place in your life where you're holding on to something that should be forgiven, take a look at it. Don't be afraid to take a look at it and start to move towards forgiveness, because it will increase prosperity consciousness in your experience. Spiritual law number 4. You must seek, discover, and follow your divine purpose. You must seek, discover, and follow your divine purpose. This is akin to, in the 7 spiritual laws of success, Dharma. What is your Dharma? Is your Dharma your job?
I didn't mean it in the job, I meant it as in your spiritual job.
Okay.
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Why are you here?
And that's what I think.
Yeah.
What's my job here? And I don't see it in as a bad way. I don't think it is as the thing I'm necessarily doing.
Right.
Sorry.
How many of you are engaged in jobs, and I'm talking about what you actually are employed doing, and let this be a rhetorical question, because this may make you feel a little uncomfortable to say, that would be me. How many of you are engaged in jobs that are not, that you don't feel align with your purpose. Think about that and start to really get in touch with that idea. Now, does that mean that I want you all to go out? Those of you who have had this idea of, oh, I'm not really doing what I want to do. Am I telling you to go out and quit your job tomorrow? No, I'm not telling you to go out and quit your job tomorrow. I'm just saying, start to get clear on what your divine purpose is. Now, your job, what you do in your mind to make money, because that's why most of us have jobs, to make money, right? What you do may support your divine purpose. I think for me, the greatest gift that I've ever been given is the fact that I actually have a job that is my divine purpose.
Yeah.
But it took me almost 40 years to come to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing this at all, but I do have questions about it, because have you not said that it's okay just to be? That we are. That's enough?
Yeah.
So is this not saying we all need to be doing something good?
Who says that your divine purpose has to be tied into an action?
Okay.
Here's what happens. My divine purpose, so if I were to try and
But he's a good person. That's a divine person.
that's a divine purpose, absolutely.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
If my divine purpose, and I do believe that my divine purpose is to be an example of great living in this world, that's my divine purpose, to be an example. Now, do I have to do that in pulpit ministry? No. There are other ways I can do that. So what ends up happening is, if you really get in touch with your divine purpose, which is akin to what are you passionate about in your life? If you really find your passion in life, what I do believe ends up happening is it leads to the action.
And does that not, so back to your first question, if you have a job that on the one hand you don't like, but if you are recognizing in yourself who you are, can you not apply yourself in a job you don't like? Sort of, instead of, if you don't have what you like what you have, be the person you are in the job that you have, and so it's not the job, it's you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. I think I know exactly what you're saying. So I'm going to tell you about my friend Lisa. My friend Lisa, we were in different departments, but we both worked at Warner Brothers. And she was in a department that she absolutely despised. She hated everybody who worked with her. She hated her boss. She was miserable all the time. And one of the things that she did is she started looking for what is her passion in life. She was going for the question, what is the divine purpose? What is my divine purpose? Why am I here on earth? Why am I having this experience? And what she started to do is exactly that. She started to apply, when she really got clear on what that is, she started to apply that divine purpose into her everyday experience of her job. And don't you know it, her job completely shifted around her. The boss she hated got transferred to another department. The people that she didn't enjoy working with, all of a sudden, their experience all changed. Because what it was they were all kind of, they were all kind of pissed about their boss. Right? So they were all having experiences of, oh, I really hate being here, and they were taking it out on each other. So if you bring your divine purpose to whatever it is you're doing, you can shift the entire experience of it. So if you are in a job that you may think you hate, find your divine purpose and bring that to the work you're doing and see if it doesn't shift around you. So Edwin says here, and here's what I'm going to ask you to do this for me for these, what ultimately are 21 days, which I find very interesting, that between now and the last class is exactly 21 days. She writes, the laws are simple laws, but none of them are optional. And it doesn't matter a whit whether you believe them or not. They play a powerful role in your life regardless. So what I am going to ask you to do is to really engage in the practice of these laws during the entire period of this workshop. To really make the commitment and see what happens in your life. Just see what happens in your life. So, follow the principles, whether you believe them or not at this point, and enjoy the benefits of what you receive as a result. And I put here, note, she asks for six months, which I do believe is appropriate. I'm only asking for these 21 days. But I do think what you'll find is the shift will begin to happen in these 21 days, and you're not going to want to give it up. There is, and then I wrote this down as a note, there is a reason you decided to show up. Right? There's a reason you want. What I believe is that you came here with an intention of hearing the one thing that's going to shift it all for you. It's going to shift you into that place of prosperity, and probably a majority of you have the idea that that means you're going to get more money. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there as an idea, that you believe you're going to get more money, because that's how a lot of us really do think about prosperity. Now, you're all enlightened beings, and you've already said, well, it's not just about money. But money is a byproduct of prosperous consciousness. So, commit to the practice. I do believe you will achieve what you're looking for. I believe that. So, let me see. So here's the next question, since we are on to money. What do you believe to be true about money? I also want to... Wow, we've only been going a half hour. It feels like... That's actually good. I just want, since there are a number of you who have not taken class with me before, I don't take a break, but don't feel like you cannot step out if you need to step out. I just want to make sure everybody's clear that it doesn't bother me. So, what do you think about money? What do you believe to be true about money?
Energy.
Money is energy. Okay?
It comes and goes.
It comes and goes.
All the time.
All the time.
It pays bills.
It pays bills. All right?
It's a symptom of your thinking.
Yeah.
It's a symptom of your thinking. That's really an interesting way of phrasing that. A symptom of your thinking. Okay.
Or how much or how little is a reflection of how you think.
How much or how little is a reflection of how you think. Okay.
Something like that.
All right.
It's a marker of my life.
It's
a marker of everything that's going on in my life and in my mind.
a marker of everything that's going on in your life and in your mind. Okay. Great. What's that smile about?
I just want to say money is awesome.
Money is awesome. What do you believe to be true about money? Money is awesome.
I agree with Karen.
There you go.
Money is awesome.
Money is awesome.
An act of a
Thinking.
reward from
I
hard
love
work.
money.
An act.
It's an act of a reward for hard work that you have achieved.
Yes.
That
Okay.
took you a long time to get to.
Okay.
Not always.
Well,
Not always hard.
okay, before we start having that conversation, all I've asked so far is, what do you believe to be true about money? If that's what you believe to be true, great. Shah Rose.
It's a tool. It's something that's there that you exchange for other things. It's simply an implement in many ways and provides and gives and can be a seed, and it's a tool we use to exchange.
Okay. Yes, it is a tool that we use for exchange.
You
Yeah.
can always get more of it.
You can always get more of it. Yes, you can. I agree with that. Yeah.
You can attract it to you.
You can attract it to you. Yes, you can. I agree with that. Any other thoughts? What do you believe to be true about money?
Money can save lives.
Money can save lives
Use it well.
if you use it well. All right. All right.
It also could destroy.
And it can also destroy.
Money can sometimes ease crises. If you're a friend who has money and you have a friend who needs some, it's a measure of your love and caring to share it.
A measure of your love and caring to share it between someone who is in crisis and someone who can or has. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, here's my next question. Where did that belief come from? Oh yeah, anybody online?
I'm just pulling. So a comment on money. Money is awesome, but confusing, because some people in the world seem stingy and not nice, and they still have money.
Ah.
It's a means and not the goal of life is another person, and another one. I'm thinking about old beliefs I've had about money, that I didn't deserve it. It meant I was greedy to want it.
It meant I was greedy to want it. Oh, okay. So, I will go to the question again. Where did the belief come from?
Could be conditioning from a parent.
Conditioning from a parent, okay.
Collective consciousness.
Collective consciousness, okay.
School classmates.
School classmates.
Spiritual practice.
Spiritual practice, okay.
For me, it's the ones that even just not even learning from a parent, but learning from my childhood environment. How I saw money used is how I think about it, and I'm shifting that, but it's still how I saw it.
Yeah.
It's the hardest ingrained, and it was the same as you. It's that hard work thing, and I'd like to let go of some of that.
Yeah, well, I actually had a similar idea about money. I don't share that idea any longer.
Oh,
That's what I'm
Yeah. But I had that same idea about money, that you had to work hard to get it, and once you got it, you had to hold on to it. You had to put some away for a rainy day.
Totally.
Right?
And you get a rainy day.
I had that belief. And it was because it's actually the same thing, because of a childhood environmental thing that I had as an experience. That's how I learned how to have a relationship with money in my life, was from my childhood. And that's,
how we all learn.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, our parents taught us a lot, whether we wanted them to or not.
Yeah.
So how does that belief then support you? So I'm going to ask you, if you believe that money comes from hard work, how does that belief support you in your life?
Continue working hard.
Aha! I will make a suggestion. Start to move your idea into the realm of money is easy to get.
Yes, it's easy to get.
Money is easy to get. And here's one big one that I'm going to suggest to you, because this is one that many of us believe, and we don't even realize we have the belief. Many of us believe that our jobs are the source of our money.
Yeah, true.
How many of you, I mean, there was the affirmation right there. How many of you actually believe that money is, that your job is the source of your money?
Not the only one.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No.
Because I keep pounding it into you. I mean, what do we read every Sunday?
God is my source.
God is.
I know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. Now, your job can bring you money, and if you're engaged in a job, I trust it does bring you money.
If it doesn't, you might want to think about it.
Yeah, if it doesn't, find a new job. So, the reason that I start to bring up the beliefs, what your beliefs are about money, and start to challenge you on them, is because your belief sets the limit to the demonstration in your life. So if you do believe, if this is truly your belief, that money comes from hard work, then to get money will require hard work. That's why I say, if we start to come to the understanding money is easy to get and start to embody that as a belief, then money is easy to get.
It is.
Okay? So, what constitutes a healthy attitude toward money?
Not worrying about it, I suppose.
Not worrying about it. Do you embody that?
Not all the time.
Okay.
No, it's a practice.
All right.
Freely giving and receiving.
Freely giving and receiving. That constitutes a healthy attitude toward money. Do you embody that?
I'm more and more.
More and more. All right.
It is enough.
Say again, that there's enough?
for everybody.
There's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Do you embody that idea?
Try.
You try. Okay. Yes.
One thing I've had to do is because I liked to avoid money, and now I have to make friends with money. I have to visit money regularly, check out, see how it's doing. Sure, like but not avoid it. So it's like, hey, how you doing? You know, it's like I almost think of it. Sometimes I go out on dates with my money just to see how. I'm serious. I go to my bank account. How you doing? Are you feeling healthy? Is there anything I need? You know, you need, I need, we need to work.
All right. That's good. It's a partnership.
Just not be afraid of it. Not be afraid of.
Does your money bring you flowers?
Yes, sometimes.
It can. If you take it to the flower shop, I'm sure the money will give you flowers. Just talk to Linda.
I do something similar like that. I like put my money on my altar sometimes. Instead of putting it in the corner of my, like how I used to do it, like a teenager, like, you know, and then now, because I was told that you should treat it like a goddess, like Lakshmi. So you put it on your altar when you have the money in your home,
Okay.
so that you draw more.
All right. So, what else do you do that with?
I'm sorry?
What else do you do that with?
What
What other things in your life do you put on your altar to draw more of it into your life? Just
Oh, well, do you want me to say it, or do I?
no, I want you to say it.
Oh, okay. All my sacred medicines and
Okay,
people
so-
I love.
So, health, relationships.
Yeah, my gurus, my teachers,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
and that's pretty much about it.
Okay. So you're looking. So your altar is a balanced altar. That's what I would suggest. Your altar is a balanced altar.
It's always cleaned when it's messy. Keep it-
Well, that's just one way of attracting more into your life and that's a spiritual practice, right? It's a spiritual practice to have that recognition. You know, one of the other things that I think tends to be a belief about money is people are actually scared of money.
Scared of not having enough money.
Scared of not having enough money. But what constitutes not having enough?
Not being able to pay your bills.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the consequence of not being able to pay your bills?
Oh, more.
Having to get a loan.
Well, they
Having to
don't
get-
like it very much.
Well, companies don't like it very much.
Electricity, no water, no hydro. Living off the grid.
Living off the grid. So there are people who live off the grid
By choice, yes.
by choice, right?
Yeah.
I bet you that is not a concern for them.
No, not at all.
You know, ultimately, what I'm getting at is that ultimately it's all about choice. What choices have you made in your life? Because you can choose not to pay your bills. I will not suggest it. I'm not saying don't pay your bills. So I am not suggesting you go out and quit your job, and I'm not suggesting that you don't pay your bills. I just want to be abundantly clear. But the decisions we make about money, the choices we make about money are how we then have, that's how we interact with the world. So I just want to be, ultimately I just want to keep reiterating, it comes down to choices we've made. Everything comes down to choice we make. Everything. Even the concept of the fear of not having enough is a choice we've made. That there actually is the possibility that we can go without. Yes?
As you're speaking about this, it strikes me that money is an expression of how liberated or free you feel.
Money is an expression of how liberated or free you feel. Yeah, and that's so, it's a demonstration of that idea.
Yes.
Now, is that the only demonstration of liberation and freedom?
No.
No. So,
But it's not necessarily a key one, but liberation in itself, the freedom is so key, it's even more basic than money.
This goes in line with what was just being said. I was scared of not having enough money for a long time, and it disabled my ability to move forward. Once I decided there were things more important than having money, I felt a sense of liberation. And now things that bring prosperity into my life are falling at me.
and so it is. There you have it.
When money have been related with dark sides in our life. If you are rich, it's because you are screw other people, or you know.
Okay. So
This kind of belief.
So that again is what I will suggest is a belief. And if you hold on to that belief. It will show up in your experience. I mean, how many of us have experienced people in our lives?
You're looking for the right words.
I am. Well, and also a particular name just popped into my brain, and I.
Go ahead, come on, you'll go.
I once temped for 3 days in Donald Trump's office.
Oh, that must have been a very interesting experience.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Because that is a man who is driven
Yeah.
purely by money.
Correct.
Power.
And power. And for me, for my taste, and this is just my own belief, you know, he can do whatever he needs to do. Ultimately,
He's got his own path.
it has nothing to do with me. But for my taste, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. That drive for just that doesn't work for me. Yeah.
So here in that sentence, how you're you're relating to that word money is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be more accurate to say that this man is driven by the lust for money rather than by money?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you.
And is it really money, or is it more the power that money brings?
Or an erroneous idea that money brings power.
Yes. Yeah.
Because ultimately, money
Or respect.
or respect.
I see more
Buying
he's
respect.
ego driven, and the irony of it is that he gets so much ridicule instead.
That is the irony of it. I don't want this to turn into a let's bash Donald Trump
I like
session.
Celebrity Apprentice.
I have friends who've been on Celebrity Apprentice. So yeah.
I did enjoy it too.
In fact, one of them that I do want to get here someday. Brilliant practitioner.
Was on Celebrity.
He was actually helping the contestants in one of the challenges. Wow, I've totally lost my train of thought. That's okay. Let me look at my notes.
It was regarding money and the dark side.
The dark side, yeah.
Yes, the dark side of money. So this is what I think is this is relatable actually, because this is another Edwin Gaines quote. We have to learn to be masters of our money and not let it be the master of us.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Right? How many of you, and it's again a rhetorical question, just check in with yourself. To what degree do you allow money to be the controlling factor in your life? Just check in with yourself. Because it's going to be different for everyone. Some people may feel like it controls them more, and some may say, it doesn't control me at all. Just check in. And start to recognize, again, that is a belief. That is a belief. Now, money can help us live more comfortable lives. I'm not going to deny that. But let's start to recognize that comfortable living is not driven by money. Which is why I had that question for you earlier with the response of saying, basically, what is it? Like why can you not live those things right now?
In some ways I am.
In some ways you are. So what's holding you from living all of them?
Probably my erroneous thinking, which is what I was saying, the symptomatic of your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And that's how I would answer. So money is a means to an end. It's not an end in and of itself. It is helpful. And I do believe, as she writes, I do believe at some point we will move beyond the need for that tool. Because it is just a tool. It's a tool for exchange. That's all it is. This is one of the things that I have done in other, I think I did this in the spiritual economics class last year. What's important about this?
I'd say it's that we all agree that it has value.
We all agree that it has value. we are in agreement that this piece of paper is worth $5. That's it. That's it. We've just made a collective decision. Because really, this piece of paper is no different than this piece of paper. But we've made a decision that this carries weight, that this has value. So when we start to recognize that money is just a decision that we've made, I guarantee, I do believe, that you will begin to free yourself up to more flow of it in your life. I thought I had a 50 in my pocket.
You didn't go big hard
enough. So there is no power in money. Can you accept that idea? There is no power in money except the power that we give to it. Right? There is no, there is no value to money except the value that we assign to it. So, can you begin to take that on as a belief? All right, awesome. So where does your, I think I've already asked the question, where does your money come from, right? Where does your money come from? It comes from hard work. Well, my money comes from my pocket in this moment.
Your wallet.
At least the $5 that I happen to have in my pocket.
From my family.
It comes from your family. I've received money from my family. Yes. Where else does money come from?
Work.
Work.
My pension.
Your pension?
From the ocean.
From the ocean?
You're swimming, you find... I have found money in the most amazing places. I'm swimming and I'm like, 200 Mexican pesos. I'm like, like $20. I'm like, I felt super rich. I'm swimming.
Actually, there's something very interesting in what you just said. What is the equivalent of 200 pesos?
Well, let's say that at that time when I found it, it was like, I don't know, $20.
$20.
A bit less.
Okay.
Yeah. $20. That's cool.
So the question that I then have is this. Do you get more excited about $100 than you do about $20? Carmen, you were looking at me because you know where I'm going with this, huh?
It depends how it was delivered to you.
It depends on how it was delivered to you. So explain that to me.
Swimming in the ocean or swimming in a swimming pool.
100's great. 20
you know
next
what?
week would be better.
If, for example, so Christina, if her mother gave her $100, thanks, Mom, that's very nice. But she was probably more excited about finding the $20 in that unusual, unexpected place,
Yes.
and was more excited. That's what I.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right, that's fine.
Sure.
That's fine. So, were you going to say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I had an experience a few months ago where I was having a bad day, walking down the street, and all of a sudden I went, no, I can do this. I'm going to do my dream, and I'm going to get, I want to create music videos for saving the lives of LGBT youth and building self-esteem in gay and lesbian teens. So I'm like, I can do this. And I got, I started doing a quick little mind treatment going, yes, I can. And I went, there's $20 on the sidewalk. Hey, if that wasn't a sign, then what? So that was worth way more than,
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
It's how it's delivered.
So I say, bam, and so it is.
It's like a sign. It's telling you something.
It was like, well, yeah, the universe is going, hell yeah.
But I was grateful too when I was finding the little ones, the 1 cent that there's no anymore.
Right.
I was very grateful, and at times I found like 10 at one point, and I'm like, yes. And people are like, this is the weirdest. But I found those, and I found like $1. Then I found like a Visa gift certificate, and I'm like, meaning not the same day, but I was like, yes. So I was giving.
I would suggest to you that is a healthy attitude around money.
Yes.
Because how many people, now this is another thing, a rhetorical question. Again, another rhetorical question. How many of you, let's see, what's an example I can give? How many of you, I'm just going to assume you all got refunds on your tax return.
You'd have to file them first.
No.
Yes.
I'm just going to assume.
Okay.
Let's just pretend
Okay.
that we've all received refunds on our tax return.
Okay.
Okay? Now, there are going to be different people who get different refunds in different amounts. So, when you get your refund, say it's $2,000.
Woo!
Right. When you get your refund, say it's $40.
That's still good.
Ah, but it wasn't quite nearly the woo!
Yeah, that's right.
If you're not paying, it's great. It doesn't matter what the amount is, as long as you're not paying more money.
Well, I actually don't want this to turn into a conversation about whether or not we should pay our taxes.
Yes, that's true.
But because I'm a firm believer in paying taxes. Thank goodness moving to this country because
That's what we do here.
we do pay taxes here.
True, taxes and say sorry.
But I'll tell you, you pay taxes in the States too, unless you're a corporation. Ooh, sorry.
Or Donald Trump.
I'm going to step away from that for the moment. But ultimately the point that I'm trying to make is, and it can be a very subtle thing. You may look at that $40 and think, oh, just $40?
Oh, come on.
Because it could have been $2,000.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the times when you should check in and recognize prosperity, abundance is abundance, no matter what the number is. Yeah.
I have an example of that. I started to do this a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to tithe and all that stuff, and it was the first week. I'm walking along the street, and I thought, what's on my foot? And I looked, and there was a penny stuck with glue on my foot. And I took it off, and I thought, oh, it's a penny. And I thought, I'm supposed to tithe 10% of everything. So I came to a spot that was sort of a public spot, and I took the penny off and left it there.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt good about that.
Good. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Kind of like when you're a kid and you go and your parents give you $5 and you go to the mall and you think it's like $100.
I know, like
you look at it now and it's not.
You must be very young. Because I'm pretty young, but even I didn't get $5 when I was a kid. Wow.
You're not that young, John.
The tooth fairy used to go.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
I think abundance is unexpected money as a gift from someone showing their love to you. That happened to me recently, and this person gave me some money one day, and via a mutual friend gave me the same amount again the next day, and that really touched me.
Awesome.
Are you friend?
Awesome.
Gifts.
So,
It was so unexpected.
and that's great. You know, I love money that comes from unexpected sources.
Yes.
It's always exciting. And it happens a lot.
It does.
It happens a lot. A lot of us, though, don't honor it or recognize it when it happens. So, this week, one of the things I'm going to ask you to start doing is to start recognizing and honoring when unexpected money comes to you. Start really realizing that it does happen all the time. We just don't always, we're not always really taking the conscious awareness in that moment. We just kind of accept it. Yeah.
And when you say unexpected money, does it have to actually be the money in bill form, or can it also be somebody takes you out for a meal or buys you a coffee? Is there a difference?
For me, that's unexpected abundance.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. But I'm talking specifically about money, like money that
Cold hard cash.
cold hard cash. Cold hard cash. $5.
I'm gonna find those.
Go to the mall.
Go to the mall.
This feels like 100.
No, I love unexpected income. So what was that last?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know where I got this. It was like probably. I heard something about like when connecting to like the dark side or whatever. Dark side. When you like if you earn money in a malice way, isn't it true that like sort of like there's a debt that comes from the universe in some aspect, whether it be your health, relationships, or some angle that.
Well, what I would suggest is it's not necessarily related to the money, even if the money's tied up in it. If you are engaged in something that is malicious and harmful, if the law of cause and effect works, what are you putting out into the universe as cause? The effect will come back to you. It's the law of attraction.
Yeah.
So if you're malicious in some way, you're going to get it right back to you.
Yeah, sometime, somehow, somewhere.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to be tied with money. So, just something to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not darker.
No? Okay, good. Yes.
Not Darth Vader. No.
I just wanted to share this experience I had a few years ago. It was just sort of a test. We were supposed to give a $5 bill to a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to give, I forget, $3. Anyway, 3 of them. So I remember going to a total stranger, giving a $5 bill to this woman. She wasn't homeless or anything. We were not allowed to give it to someone who was homeless, but we were allowed to give it to anyone. Mm-hmm. So she was a regular person going to work. She could not. It was hard for her to accept the money. Mm-hmm. She would not receive it. She just felt very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And then the next day I gave this money to this man, very well dressed, manicured, every hair in place. And I said, "Sir, this $5 bill is for you." He said, "Great, thank you very much." Put in his pocket.
Yeah,
so,
interesting.
Yeah,
it's a woman thing.
Yeah.
No.
He was comfortable with money.
He was comfortable
Your
with
relationship,
money.
yeah.
She was not. It was
Well, you
difficult.
thought he wasn't comfortable receiving.
She was, yeah.
Yeah. So, so
be comfortable receiving.
and that's really important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have seen this on both sides of the equation. I see people who give and give and give and give and give, and they are so uncomfortable with receiving, they've stopped the flow.
Yes.
And I see people who receive and receive and receive and receive and receive, and they don't give because they're uncomfortable with giving. They stop the flow. Yes?
There's a comment here from somebody who is saying that for them it's easier to accept money when they work for it.
I will suggest that's a belief. And if we can open ourselves up to the idea that it's easy to accept money, it's easy to accept money. How many of you, though, got that little moment of like, because we've been conditioned into a different thought. We've been conditioned to think we have to work hard, that that's the only way that... Does working hard make my giving this to someone, does working hard, if they work hard for it, does it carry more value than if they don't work hard for it?
No. But apparently in this society it would.
We start to think that it does.
Because when you say, for example, I work different jobs and in some, I make a lot of money in an hour. Like crazy, meaning a lot of money per hour. And in some other works, I make like the minimum, right? And then for some people it's like, wow. And I'm like, well, it is what it is in the business, right? But that, at the eyes of people, is like, you didn't work so hard for the hour making that much. And I'm like, I didn't put the rules, and it's great, right?
Yeah.
Can I say something? John Stewart said something about what he found backwards was with U.S. is that corporations who find loopholes in tax are considered savvy, and they're technically stealing, but people who are on welfare who are trying to eat are leeches or something like that.
It's his consideration of the conservative government in the States right now that's really the approach that they have. You know, they're more than happy to give government or to give corporations tax benefits and not want to support people who are on welfare. So, Brian, you had something?
Well, it's about the giving and receiving just before we get off that, but sometimes that comes down to one person's self-worth.
Aha.
True.
if you're stopping the flow, the question is why? Because for me, whether you're a good giver or a good receiver but can't do the opposite, why? What is it within you that is choosing to stop the flow? Because I do believe then it does come down to, I will just be very clear, I believe that it does come down to a self-worth issue. How do you value yourself in society? Because I just want to look and see the names, because I'm about to talk about my dad. I just want to make sure he's not on here. No, my father, he's a very generous man. He's a very, very generous man. And I have seen occasions where he has had a hard time receiving. And I only bring it up because that was what I saw growing up. And so my experience was, it's great to give, and yet it's something that I should withhold from receiving. Because for some reason, being on the receiving end is less, what's the word I'm looking for?
Respectable.
It's less respectable. Right? Well, what if the people that I was giving to had that same idea, that it's less respectable to receive? Well, then we've both stopped the flow.
And then there's a comment which just harmonizes with that. It came at the same time, and it's the one who said it's easier to accept when I work for it. After I think about it, I judge people that take too much from others.
Ah.
So there's a judgment.
Judgment there, yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but then what about the case where if someone is very generous and wants to give, and they do, but they get in debt by doing it? They rely on their credit cards.
Well,
that.
First of all, let's not go into judgment around other people. Are you willing to do that? And do you do that?
Yes.
You do that.
I have done that.
You have done that.
Generous, not having the actual cash, and resorting to credit cards. Yes, I have done that.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what is the belief in giving beyond your means?
It's just in the time, in the moment, and wanting to please someone.
Wanting to please someone.
I bought jewelry for my son who's getting married in a few weeks for his fiancée. I bought her wedding jewelry. She was very excited. She saw it. I wanted to please her.
Okay. So
that's one example.
Okay, so that's one example. So excuse me. So on some level now, so we're just going to take this as an example. We're going to try and play this out. You have now taken on debt in support of giving to someone. To please them. Right?
And because it made me happy.
And it made you happy.
Yes.
All right. Are you in full faith that that debt is cleared up right now? Whether the money has shown up or not in this moment, are you in full faith that that is not something that will hang over you?
No.
Aha. There's the difference. If you can step into full faith, into a place of full faith, that that money is not an issue, that it is freely yours to give because it makes you feel good and it makes the other person feel good, and know that you are fully supported by something beyond, not just your job, but that you are fully supported in that givingness, then it's not something you should have to worry about. But if you're going to the place of worry that you're not going to be able to pay that debt, something to then look at. But it comes down to, what is the belief that it's underneath the act of the giving? So, what I will know for you is that it is not a debt that you carry. That the money that is required to pay that debt to the credit card company, I imagine, just throwing that out there as the idea, that the money that is required to pay that debt, interest-free, I will add, is fully available to you right here and right now. It shows up because it can't not. That's the truth that I know for you, and I can speak this truth. See, I'm doing a spiritual mind treatment right here. I can speak this truth because I have divine authority, because I am the full expression of God as me right here in this moment. And in gratitude, I accept this on your behalf and trust that it is so, and so it is.
And so it is.
Okay?
Thank you, that's good.
Keep believing.
scary.
And say again?
It's kind of scary.
Kind of, it's scary.
Too much power.
Yeah.
There's a comment here about money and the emotions around debt. It's quite a long one. Do you want it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I loaned a huge sum of money to a friend when she was in need. She found a way to end our friendship shortly after. I'm having a hard time releasing that money, especially when I could use it now myself.
Mhm.
However, I trust that I have what I need, and so she needed it then. There is still resentment because of the betrayal.
All right. Well, not wanting to tell anybody what to do, I would make a suggestion that even though the friendship has ended, go ask for the return on the loan. Just go ask for it. Here's the thing. If you receive it, great. If you don't receive it, at least you took action. At least you took action. And I do think that, for me, I think that would help me feel better if I were in this situation, right? But, you know, get in touch with, so there's one thing, hold on, I just want to look at the one thing.
Let go of the resentment.
That said,
Yes, yeah.
Because it eats you.
so I'm having a hard time releasing, especially since I could use it now myself. However, I trust that here's the thing. However, I trust that I have what I need.
Yeah.
And yet I still feel the resentment. So you've actually now negated the actual statement you've made that you're in trust.
Yeah.
Because if you resent it, you're actually not in trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, you know,
But she said she resented the betrayal
right.
of her friendship.
But the whole story is about wanting to get the money back.
Yeah. And that's right.
So in the resentment of the, I will get to you, Brian. In the resentment of the betrayal of the friendship, I do think that saying, and you can give lip, it's a terrible way of phrasing it, so I apologize in advance. Giving it lip service and saying, I fully trust that I have what I need, is akin to sticking your head in the sand. If you don't really believe it. So just check in, and trust that you are guided to exactly what you need to do to resolve this in your own mind. Brian.
The phrase in that sentence that is quite limiting.
Okay.
I have what I need.
Okay.
If you have what I need, you're not opening yourself up for more.
Yeah, why do you need more than you have? I mean, why do you here, so this is one of the things that ultimately I did want to get to. Why do we need more than we require?
Why not?
Why not?
Why, yes.
Why, yes.
For creative expression.
For creative expression. What does having more than you could possibly use do for you?
Opens me up to more creative expression.
Okay, but if it's so,
Security.
but it gives you security. Okay, but here's really, but
There comes a point where
And then you can contribute more.
how so you can contribute more? Absolutely, like
more away.
I'm happy to give money away.
That's right.
I'm
It's
happy to
more-
give
yes,
money away.
because you've got
I actually, you know that I give a lot of money away. Not that this has to be about me. Who the hell cares?
Now you sound like James Mellon.
I do. Well, look at where I was trained, right? But ultimately, I ask myself this question: do I really need a $10 million a year salary? And that's a limited idea, by the way. Do I really need a $10 million a year salary?
If you had a $10 million ministry, you would.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Think of all you can do with that.
There's a great amount that I could do with that. Absolutely. However, do I need it?
But it's not about need. We're not talking about need at that point. It's,
Okay. So then
if
what
you
are we
open
talking about?
yourself up to true abundance in all areas of your life,
Mhm.
need should really not even come into it, because you know you have whatever you need to look after what you're doing now, but if you limit it to just what you perceive that you need, then that's all you'll ever have.
Okay.
We create the need.
We do create the need.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you
The more
what,
you
if
have,
I
the
had
more you spend.
if I had a $10 million a year salary, I'll tell you this center would be doing pretty darn well.
Yeah.
First of all.
You think?
First off,
we
this
wouldn't be
center would be
here.
doing pretty. Oh no.
No.
When that happens, and I guarantee you, I will find the requirements for that money in my life,
Oh, exactly.
and a lot of it will be giving it away. That's really, because that's just me. I mean, that's just me, and I'm not saying that anybody else has to be like that, but that's just what I would do. Is I'd give a lot of it away. So yes, I will agree with you. That is a limited idea. But how many of us are holding on to getting just what we need? I have what I need. Okay, everything's fine. I have what I need. I'm living in full faith and trust that I have what I need. Okay, I'm just going to check my bank account over here to make sure I have what I need. How many of you do that?
About that.
Right? No,
It's called student loan.
I do that too, because I find myself, I give so much away, I think, wait a second, let me make sure that I have what I need.
That's the question I ask.
No, ultimately this comes down to limiting ideas. We have limiting ideas that we can take on in our lives. So what limiting ideas, just somebody, what limiting ideas might be holding you back right now, or holding you in lack?
One's attitude towards money.
Say again?
One's attitude towards
One's attitude towards money. Okay. One's attitude towards money. Yes.
Experiences that you've seen with your parents.
Experiences that you've seen with your parents, such as?
Well, if they invested in like financial, like their house and they've gone through debt because of it, or bills that they've spent on things and the result of that, or losing money, gaining tons of money, being in the luxury, going in from riches to rags, feast and famine, the spectrums of that, of periods with seeing your family go through, sort of have that as your blueprint.
Okay. So how do you change the blueprint?
How would I change that?
And I also want to be abundantly clear. Parts of the blueprint won't need to be changed. Parts of the blueprint will be very healthy relationships to abundance and money. But what isn't, well, you can, please.
Sorry.
But start to get in touch with the things that are limiting your ideas and are not working for you, and recognize that you do have the capacity to change the blueprint. That's a choice. It's all coming down to choice, just like everything, right? Ooh, I'm falling over. I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, I don't want to ask that question. So we've talked about money now, and we've talked a lot about money. And one of the things that that has been stated is money is God in action. Do you know who said that? Helen, do you know who said that?
Ernest Holmes?
No. I think it was originally Emerson.
It's in the book.
Yeah, I think it's originally. In this book or this book?
No,
In Edwin's book, yeah. I think originally it was Emerson. I'll have to look it up just to make sure. Anyway, but the whole concept, money is God in action. So then here's what I then will go to. What do you believe to be true about God, or the creative source, or the universal energy, or whatever you call it, however you relate to it? What do you believe to be true about it?
God is limitless.
God is limitless. So, okay. Money is God in action. God is limitless.
Okay.
Therefore, money is
Limitless.
There you go. What else do you believe to be true about God?
It's always with me.
It's always with you.
Yeah.
So, money is God in action. God is always with you. Therefore,
Money is always with you.
That sounds good.
doesn't that sound good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll take some of that.
You'll take some of that? All right, Carmen,
I'll
what
take
do
it
you
all.
believe to be true about God?
constantly flowing.
God is constantly flowing. All right, you ready? Here we go. Money is God in action. God is constantly flowing. Therefore, money is constantly flowing.
God is creative.
God is creative. Money is God in action. God is creative. Therefore, money is creative. It's real easy to start building these things up in our own mind by recognizing, because I love that statement, money is God in action. When I start to really attribute money, giving it the same attributes as God, what I believe to be true about God, boy, it starts to free me up. It relaxes. I get to relax into that.
So like God is everywhere.
God is everywhere. Money is everywhere.
I heard this saying. It's a Sanskrit saying about if you fall in love with Lakshmi, she'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something about Lakshmi and Pavarti. So Pavarti is goddess of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
If you fall in love with Pavarti, Lakshmi will fall in love with you. Does that make?
Okay.
If you fall in love with wisdom.
If you fall in love with wisdom, money will fall in love with you.
Oh, I see.
I like that. I really like that. I'm going to get to you in just a sec. Who knows Troward's? You'll know this. Who knows what Troward's 7 attributes of God are? There we go. They are love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, and joy. That's what Thomas Troward refers to as the 7 attributes of God. Love, light, lice. Love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, joy. So, money is love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, and joy. Just start to think about money in these terms. Start to accept that this is the truth about money. And it becomes the truth in your experience when you take on the belief. So what I'm going to do, so one of the things that I want to do is, as a group, I want us to start coming up with some affirmations that we can all share. Because part of what she suggests, she talks about affirmations in the book, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I will come up with a list. If you go to the csltoronto.com website, all of this is in the public forum, which then makes me think, if my dad does watch. No, it's all in the public forum under the class tab. So I will put all of these affirmations after we've developed them onto the blog, so you can go and grab them, print them out, and utilize them in your everyday life. Also, all of the video archives will be posted there, so if you want to watch the class again, you can do that.
The video too?
Say again?
The video too?
The video will be there too, yes. So what I would like to do is I would like you to give me some affirmations that we can all share as a class, and part of the work then is I'm gonna post these affirmations tonight right after class. Go and take a look at them, and I want you to engage in the practice of stating out loud with authority these affirmations every single day for the course of these 21 days.
Just once? Sure. Every day?
Every single day.
Okay. And often, right?
As often as you want, but at least once a day.
Does it have to be money, or can be like?
Well, let's specifically relate it to money.
Okay.
Wealth, abundance, prosperity, even success, because that's all related too, right?
Yes.
So, I'm going to start with, this is one of my favorite affirmations. This is what I'm going to start with.
Okay.
My success is non-negotiable. So who else has some affirmations?
I gratefully receive all unexpected money.
I gratefully receive all unexpected money. Also, if you're online, type in some affirmations.
I earn money with love and I invest money with love. I don't spend it, I invest it.
Oh, thank you.
In things I believe in.
So I'm just going to clarify that. I earn money with love and I invest money with love in things I believe in. Does that work? Awesome. Any other affirmations?
I'm blessed, rich, and abundant.
I'm blessed, rich, and abundant. How about this? Money is awesome.
Yes, that's Marvin's.
You all laugh, but I'm telling you, how does it make you feel?
I love it. Great. Awesome.
Money is awesome. That's really what the point of affirmations are. Well, how does it make you feel?
Good.
Can I use one of Edwin?
You may, yes.
Large, rich, opulent, lavish surprises now come to me and I accept them.
Large, rich, opulent,
Lavish.
lavish.
All of them. Large, rich, opulent, lavish surprises.
Surprises.
Financial surprises.
Yeah, you can put financial in there. That's
to-
nice.
So large, rich, opulent, lavish. Financial surprises come to me,
And I accept them.
and very important, and I accept them.
Don't send them away.
Well, you'd be surprised at how many people send their large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises away from them because they're not willing to accept.
Yeah.
It's really important to know that you can accept.
What was the last part of that? Surprises?
Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises come to me, and I accept them.
Now.
Come
Now.
easily
Now.
to me.
It's now.
and
Come
I
to
know
me
it.
now.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
It's the now.
Yeah.
It's not later, it's now.
Well, and one of the things about, and you've all done it so far, another really important aspect of affirmations is always in the first person, always in the present moment. Because what happens if you say, I will receive money? And tomorrow I say, I will receive money. And then the next day you say, I will receive money. And then the next day, I will receive money. I'm now totally out of the camera shot. The more you say, I will, and put it in the future, you will always experience that it's coming to you at some point in the future, and you will never accept it now. That's why we always do affirmations in the first person, and always in the present moment. Always in the first person present tense.
Money is easy to get, the one you said before.
Money is easy to get.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yes.
I was trying to formulate this. I'm wealthy enough to create the world I want to live in.
Wow.
That's great. I love it.
I'm wealthy enough to create the world I want to live in today. Does that work? If we add that on?
Yes. To live in today. Yes.
I'm wealthy enough to create the world I want to live in today. Okay, yes.
So I've got some online.
Mm-hmm.
I am living in full financial abundance.
I am living in full financial
Right now.
abundance.
Can we say surplus?
You can.
Instead of full?
Well, that's up to the person who's
And
creating.
there's another
worth
one.
it.
With money, I feel
I'm
more
worth it.
freedom, then I can make more choices and have more options to do good.
With money, I feel more freedom.
I'm living in financial.
Then I can make more choices.
Greater freedom.
I'm gonna make it a little more active. Allowing me
To make more choices.
allowing me infinite choice.
Oh,
What is the other? And infinite options to do good. Great. Go.
I am a money magnet.
I am a money magnet. Who is that?
That is me.
M.E. Awesome.
Me, that's because we
That's
Bob
Mary
Proctor
Ellen.
always says that. Bob
Is
Proctor.
it joined
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm losing stuff?
Oh.
I don't know why it keeps saying.
Oh, it keeps
join.
popping us out. I'm sorry.
So just
So-
let the people know after that one to send them in again.
So you just heard I am a money magnet. If we have not read your affirmation online,
Send it again.
now if you would, and trust
Okay.
the chat will continue to
I've
function.
come up with one.
Yes.
It is God's pleasure to bless me beyond my wildest dreams.
It is God's
Today.
pleasure
To bless me
to
financially.
bless me. Well, why? Let's not limit that one.
Okay.
To bless me beyond my wildest
And we know that you dream wildly,
dreams.
so it's huge.
Dream as wild as you want.
How about this one? How about I have money to spare and to share?
Yes.
Yes, I like that.
Okay, so
I have
that's
all the
a-
money I can spend. I have
And
money. I have more. No, what was it she said?
To spend and to share.
I have money to spare and to share. And then what were you going to...
I have my life is rich, joyful, and filled with money.
My life is rich, joyful, and filled with money. Awesome. All right. Yes, Sharose.
I effortlessly express myself through sharing money, life, and wonderful gifts.
I effortlessly express myself
Through sharing
through sharing. Continue, if you would, please.
money, life, and wonderful gifts.
Money, life, and wonderful gifts. I trust. I'm gonna have it. We have a whole page now, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Unless anyone has one they're really dying to get in there.
I've got one.
Yes.
Longevity of vibrational energy.
Longevity. Make it an active I statement, though.
Well, I love.
I love.
So, break the word of love is longevity of vibrational energy.
I am. How about this? I am.
Love.
I am love. And you know what that means. I
Longevity
am.
of vibrational energy.
So, but I'm going to write that down because I'll put it in quotes. Longevity of
That was just popping out.
vibration,
So just
vibrational. Longevity of vibrational energy. Okay, great. I am love. Yeah.
I have multiple streams of income coming in today.
I have multiple
That's a good one.
streams of income coming in. How about now?
As opposed to
Today could be forever.
Today could be
a very long
okay.
A long day, yeah.
I like it on here. I am good, healthy, wealthy, happy, and loved.
Okay, I need to go to another page. I am good, healthy, wealthy, happy, and loved. I'm going to trust that I'll be able to read all my chicken scratch. Yes.
I deserve prosperity.
I deserve prosperity.
Yeah, good one.
Awesome.
And I play and get paid.
Play and get paid.
I want that one.
I play and get paid. Awesome. Those. So I'm gonna. Okay. So now we're done. Those are awesome. So here's the homework. Here's part of the homework. I will post those onto the website tonight, immediately following class. Go take a look at them, print them out, post them where you need to post them so that you can remind yourself every single day. And I'm really serious. Say them with authority out loud. Yes.
And can I testify?
Testify, girl.
Can I testify? If you can say it more than once, it makes a big difference. I've actually been working in a 15-minute stretch in the morning. It builds momentum, and it actually now sticks through the day. As opposed to if I just say it once, I don't think about them later in the day. But the more I do it, the more actually things stick with me later. And I can give silent blessings all over the place because I have words at my fingers or at my disposal.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah.
I like my favorite as my screensaver.
Oh, that's a good
Yep,
idea.
there's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Absolutely.
Change it as it suits you.
And I
Absolutely.
have sticky tapes in my mirror in my bathroom.
Me too.
So I
Mhm.
look at myself when I say it.
Awesome. And that's actually a great thing to do as well.
You know,
Say them to yourself in the bathroom mirror.
Yeah.
yes. Look
Here's-
at your eyes.
Look at your eyes. Here's one thing. When you do that,
Watch it.
recognize if any of them actually make you feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
That's a great indicator of the actual belief system that's going on. Because here's the thing about affirmations. You can state an affirmation with authority out in the world of form, but if you don't believe it, it's not doing a
Thing.
darn thing. Right? The whole purpose of affirmation is to get yourself to the place of feeling the truth of the statement you're making, so that you do begin to ingrain a new belief that eradicates the erroneous belief with which you've been living.
Must believe to achieve.
You must believe to achieve. I'm going to write that down, but I'm going to say not. I'm going to make it more of an.
See, you believe achieve.
I'm going to make it active. I do now conceive, believe, and achieve. Does that work? Is that okay if I add that to the list? Awesome. All right, I'm not adding any more to the list. I know, but hey, if one comes up, that's really good, right? All right, so. Oh, I'm like, I've already done all this. This is because that's page 1 of my notes.
There's 10 pages.
I only have 2 pages of notes. Yeah. So you'll have copies of this to do every single day. So now for the last portion of tonight's experience, we're going to talk about the T word.
Yes. Which I've never heard about that.
You've never heard about tithing?
No, the word in English. I know in Spanish
Oh.
what it means.
What is it in
Diezmo.
Spanish?
I think it's diezmo, like
Diezmo?
10% diezmo.
10%.
But in English, I'm like, that word, so I'm looking in word reference. Like, what does it?
Yeah. So here's my question. When I say tithe, what comes up for you? What's your initial response to that, to the idea or the word? Sharing the wealth. Okay? Sharing the wealth.
Imposition.
Imposition.
Because I learned it when I was in the church and
Aha.
my father, and like that is where it ties to.
A sacrifice, an imposition.
Yeah.
Okay? Can't afford
Because I
it.
believe that you.
Fear.
Fear.
Okay?
Have you read the ranks?
Why should I?
Why should I?
Yeah.
Okay?
Tenfold.
You have to read.
Tenfold return.
Don't believe it.
You don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what came up.
Yeah, well, and that's the important thing. What comes up? What comes up for you? Because that's the concept of tithing. Just a second. The concept of tithing is something that many people approach with fear. Right? Sharon?
I kind of think why 10%, right? If somebody's really abundant, then 50%, 75%, 90% maybe. If somebody's really struggling to eat and they're living on rice and beans and really want to buy an apple, I think it comes to buy the apple and then tithe, work up, maybe, and donate 1%, and then work up to the 10% as soon as that, starts to work.
Okay. So what I will tell you is she will have a different approach.
Yes.
Now, her approach is this. No matter what, start at 10%.
Yeah, that's big.
You can always give more, but start at 10%. The reason that it's 10%, who the hell knows?
That's what I asked.
And
what I say.
here actually one thought
It is in
that's
the Bible, isn't it?
well, the concept of tithing is in the Bible. It was something that was practiced.
Right.
Here's why I think that it's 10%.
It's easy.
It's easy.
You got 10 fingers.
We have 10 fingers.
And tithe means 10.
Yes.
Yes. And And like she says in there, it's easier to calculate 10% than it is 11.3%. But ultimately, the concept of 10%, I think, does come from the fact that we have 10 fingers. That's why 10 is such a typical number that we use. If we were cartoons and we had 6 fingers,
it would be 6%.
It would be 6%.
Oh, yeah, that's not as easy as 5%.
It's not as easy as 5%, no. But I do think it's 10 because, first of all, it is easy to calculate. Boom, 10%.
Yeah.
And once you do it, here's the great news, is once you recognize that you've got money that's come to you, figure out that 10% right in the moment and tithe immediately. That's one of the practices that I have gotten into is when the millisecond it comes to me, I tithe on it right in that moment. That's really part of the thing that has shifted my own experience of prosperity with respect to money, and I'm talking about money as an expression of prosperity. It's what shifted that for me. I firmly believe that tithing is something that works. Yes.
And this is something I want to bring up because she also talks about, Edwina says, somebody here is saying, I'd rather give to the poor.
Okay.
Yeah. That's different.
That is different. If you're giving to charity, what you know. So I'm going to talk about what Edwina says. Giving to need creates more need, actually, because the consciousness is the need. Now, she also says, give to charity. She actually does say it's okay to give to need, but that is not what tithing is. Tithing is something that is different. So what is tithing? Carmen, it's the first hand I saw. Carmen.
It's giving back your money back into God for where you're spiritually fed.
For where you are spiritually fed.
Person, place, or thing.
The person, place, or thing from which you are spiritually fed. Great. Then, is there anyone who has another idea of tithing?
It's God's.
It's God's. That 10% of everything that comes into you is God's. So, this is something that she says in the book.
Yeah.
Right? 10% of what you have is God's anyway. Well, if God is all there is, and we are God, it's all God, right? So,
I think it's a way of showing gratitude.
it's a way of showing gratitude. I believe that. Yeah.
And I think it's that flow.
Yeah, keeping
I
the
found for
currency
me
going.
that when I've opened up the flow now.
Yeah.
So now I'm in flow, and I'm not fighting against. I'm going with.
Going with, yes. So I haven't completely ignored the concept that you talked about, because there will be people who will say, well, if I give 4% right now, because that's what I can afford. What is the actual belief behind that?
I don't have enough.
I don't have enough.
Scarcity. So what may tend to come up is, I will never have more. And that usually what the experience has been, I'm just going to say this loudly over to that side of the room. What the experience has been for a lot of people is that if they're only willing to give 4% or 5%, they will only ever be able to give 4% or 5%. So I'm not saying that, here's the other thing. You need to do what feels comfortable to you. That's really what's important. What can you give and what feels comfortable to you? Because that's really what will then start to change and shift the consciousness. You know, I firmly believe, and again, it's my belief, I firmly believe that 10% is the starting point. And that's where my life shifted dramatically when I started engaging in the practice. So, whatever you're comfortable with, though. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a comment here from somebody who says, I owe Deepak Chopra some coin, and I would say to them, then send it to him.
Yeah.
So, I've sent it to an author.
Yeah.
send the money.
Yeah, so that is gonna be my next question. Helen.
So my understanding of tithing is that it goes along with the laws of nature and harvest, and that it is in holding back 10% of the harvest of that is able to be planted to create the next harvest the following year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. We're tithing that, we're holding back part of that harvest to give back to God to create more abundance for the next cycle of life.
Amen.
That sounds amazing.
How does that sound?
You may want to repeat
You
that.
get a cookie.
Oh, so ask if they heard that online.
Oh, do you want me to actually?
No. Did you hear that? Did you hear what Helen said about the harvest?
Oh, I got a nice Helen.
Nice Helen.
Helen.
Okay, so I'm assuming they heard you. Sharose.
Tithing is an expression of faith, and it's like
The expression of faith.
Tithing is an expression of faith,
It's true.
Of surrender.
of surrender.
Faith.
Surrendering to what, though?
Surrendering to trust.
To trust.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Yes.
I don't know if this is coming up, but like within tithing, isn't there some type of consciousness observation of how good you are with money as well? Being as that it's God, like so if you tithe and you're not really good at it, it also is sort of like people who are not really good at it, they have those restrictions because there's an observation of how well you are with it, prosperity.
Well, that actually goes to a different question, I believe, than tithing. If you're not good with money, get good with money. That's a learned skill. That's a skill to get good with money. And if you're not good with money and you don't really, I keep very aware of where my money goes. I mean, I can tell you, a lot of my money goes to coffee shops. And I love coffee, right? A lot of my money goes to coffee shops, even though I do make a lot of coffee at home now. I drink a lot of coffee. But get good with knowing where your money's going. Be responsible in that. So I think it's actually a different question. For me, to be responsible for my money, I tithe 10% off of everything I receive. And I'm talking gross. This means when I get my paycheck, I don't look at the bottom number. I look at the top number before any taxes have been withheld.
Before you've tithed to the government.
Exactly. I look at what have I actually received, which is I have received the full amount, even before tax, but I have received that full amount. I pay my taxes to the government, which then come back to me. At least a portion of them do. It comes back to me. But I never look at the bottom line, because again, that may be tied in with a scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
And Albina says, and I like this one too, that Edwina says that the universe will take it anyway in the form, it could be unexpected expenses, accidents. So if you look over your expenses, you may find you've been paying out your 10% regardless of whether you wanted to or not.
Yep. And so I can actually speak to that. When I first met Edwina at a workshop, I really was not on board yet. And I was living at this apartment in Studio City, California. Nice apartment. I actually had a very comfortable apartment. I had a crappy car, though. I mean, I had a crappy car. But I made sure that I would take care of it like I wanted to take care of a brand new car, right? I was really specific about that because I thought if I'm going to bring a new car into my experience, I need to treat what I have with the utmost respect. So I did that. And I would park it and I would make sure that it was always well cared for and everything. But I was not a tither. One night my car got broken into. Not realizing it, I had left my knapsack in the car, which had all kinds of stuff in it, including money. So That's gone now. So there's the universe taking something back. Also, you know where the universe took something back? Having to get my window repaired. So the added expense of that. Now, does tithing completely eradicate those experiences from your life? Yes.
Really?
Where is your belief?
All
Okay,
right.
fair enough.
Yes. Completely
Right? Right? And this goes to, so Ernest Holmes was someone, now you cannot do this anymore, but there was a day when you could go to the airport with your luggage, your carry-on luggage, you could set it down. Oh, I need to go use the washroom. Step up and walk away from your luggage. And somebody called him on it one day and said, "Are you going to just leave that there?" And he said, "I either believe this stuff or I don't."
That's good.
Right? You need to be, so start to become really acutely aware of what your belief system is around money. That's right. So that's part of the practice this week. So, so where it's mentioned, by the way, in the Bible, Malachi 3:10, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Here's the most important aspect of this. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it.
Wow.
It's the only place in the Bible where God, right, again, take it with a grain of salt because God is not a man out there, but where basically the concept of testing the principle is mentioned. Test the principle. So.
But you better be ready for.
I'm ready.
To accept.
Are you ready and open to receive?
Yes.
To reap the harvest?
Yeah, the harvest.
Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Great. Then, for 21 days, and I trust beyond, I'm going to encourage you all to tithe. And I'm going to give you a tool to help you tithe. I would like you to try it, even if it scares the hell out of you. Here's the other thing. Tithe first. That's the first thing you do. You don't, like when I build the budget for this center, I look at the income. The first expense item that I look at is the tithe before I go to hydro or the telephone bill. I look at what is 10% because that comes off the top. When in doubt on what to tithe on, tithe. Because actually, this came up for me. So somebody gave to this center a tithe on their tax return, which then I pointed out to them. You do realize you've already tithed on that money if you tithe on the gross of your paycheck.
Yes.
Right? And they said, I don't care. It's money coming in. I tithe on it. Even if it had already come to them, they went to the government right away. So, if you are in doubt about what to tithe on, tithe. When you receive, here's a really important aspect. When you receive graciously. In deep gratitude for what it is you have received. And one thing I will also suggest, do not discredit because of an amount. A gift is a gift. If you receive $10,000, receive it as grace, or let me turn that around. If you receive $10, receive it as graciously and as gratefully as if you had received $10,000. Now here's my question. In your financial world, is there anyone in this room or online who has a fallback plan?
What do you mean by a fallback plan?
Do you have a plan for what happens if money does not show up?
Well, if we have a plan, if that's living in lack, and it'll never.
Which is exactly where I was going to go to. So clearly, nobody in this room has a fallback plan. Because here's what happens with fallback. Here's what happens with fallback plans. If you have a fallback plan, you're setting up an expectation you will experience the need for the fallback plan.
So did you have a fallback plan? I think you might have talked about this once, I forget, when you decided to become an actor. Did you have a fallback plan?
Yes, and I believe that's why I was not more successful.
Isn't that interesting?
I firmly believe that.
So that's the argument of all the people that sells insurance.
Yeah.
You must
of
have
course.
this because you don't know in the future.
Yeah, which I have my own whole issue around the consciousness of insurance companies.
That's a whole other
If it were not
course, right?
required by law,
Yeah.
I would not engage in insurance. Personally, it doesn't work for me. I think it's a scam.
When you say fallback plan, do you mean like when your financial advisor says to you, you should have 6 months of salary saved up in case you lose your job or something like that? Is that considered?
That could be considered a fallback plan. But here's the more important thing about that. I don't think that that's a bad thing to have. I don't think it's a bad thing to have 6 months of salary saved up. Of course, here's my question.
What are you saving?
What are you saving it for, number one? Number two, how did you find the way to save up 6 months of salary?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I don't
How long did that take?
I don't necessarily live paycheck to paycheck, even though I've had that experience in my life. But here's what it boils down to. I need to clarify this because I could get very confused about this. If that's a choice, that's okay. But recognize the consciousness around that choice. Is it a consciousness of fear and lack, or is it a consciousness of prosperity? Because the consciousness is what is going to demonstrate in your experience. Okay? So, this, for everyone who's online, there is a link there where you can download this form. This form, I'm going to read it to you first. It says here, the Prosperity Plunge. And you're going to sign this form. You're not going to give it to me, by the way. This is for you. This is an agreement you make with yourself. It is not an agreement you make with me. With the understanding that I cannot outgive God, and in full faith that the source of my supply is the creative source, spirit, universal presence, God, whatever I choose to call it, I hereby dedicate myself to engage in the practice of tithing for at least the duration of this workshop. You sign it, you date it. The tool that I put on here is, starting tomorrow, June 5th, there's a line. For every single day, there's a line, June 5th through June 25th. The second column is the total amount of money you received that day. The next column is amount to tithe. It's a very simple calculation, move a decimal point. Okay? So, if you could pass those out. Now, what I'm going to also let you know, I do not intend this, and I want to be very clear, this is not some ploy for you to tithe to this center. I want you to recognize where your spiritual food comes from. That's up to you. Wherever your spiritual food comes from, I encourage you to tithe to that person, place, or thing.
Person, place, or thing?
Or thing.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
And you might need clarification from Amanda. Is tithe for a business too?
Can you clarify the question? Are you asking, do you tithe to a business, or does the business tithe?
I think she's asking if the business tithes, but I'll see
Okay,
if
so
she
clarify
responds.
if you would.
Yeah, she's saying oh, no, I don't understand. Now she's saying or for individuals. I'm not sure what she's asking about. Is tithe for a business too, or for individuals? I'm not sure.
If you have a business,
Well,
I guess.
now there are some businesses that engage in the practice of tithing.
Oh, yes, if the business tithes.
Okay.
Does the business tithe?
That's a choice.
But it's tax deductible for a business to do it.
It depends on where you give it. If you gave me spiritual food and I, as a business, gave money to you, that's not a tax deductible donation because you're not a registered charity, unless you are.
That'd be amazing.
Well, let's face it. Church is a business. This business tithes.
Yes.
To whom?
Yeah.
Well, we actually make choices on a month-to-month basis. There have been times when we have tithed specifically to charities for spiritual purposes. There have been times when we've tithed to, in fact, we've sent tithe to James Mellon because he created this
Wow.
crazy person standing in front of you. I mean, the minister. The minister. He was a major aspect in this ministry. We have tithed to Doug LeBeau. We have who is a music director and has written music. And anytime that I need a chart for our band, I contact Doug LeBeau and he sends it freely. So we sent a tithe to him. We've tithed to Karen Mitchell and to Alex Robert Holmes, both of whom have performed here. So there are places that we do where basically we're saying, this is what has brought us spiritual nourishment. We're going to send our tithe to that. Right? So we've tithed to individuals. We've tithed to organizations. Yeah.
Oh, and there's another one. I watch you on Sunday and go to CSL in Kelowna. Never tithed before. I think the question is, I split it.
That's a choice. However you want to do that, that's your choice. I just spent the weekend with Deb and Ken. Dr. Deb Gordon and Dr. Ken Gordon, who are the spiritual leaders at Kelowna. Yes, Sharose.
Now you mentioned how CSL tithes, and I noticed that they are actually supportive of this particular place as well. I'm just, I'm appreciative that, okay, the reason I'm asking this question is that as a business, I would tithe. And then I have I've given tithes to colleagues. And I'm just trying to work through how I would tithe through for my business as opposed to for me. And what would I consider the business's spiritual food?
Well, that's, I think it's just something that you're going to have to, I think there's an answer there. What is comfortable to you around that? I would start with individual. Don't necessarily worry about your business at the moment. Start just on the individual level.
What if you're getting spiritually fed by say 5 different people, and you're but all of a sudden you only give to 2 of them? Is there a limitation to that?
Well, what I would suggest is probably the better practice is to split it between the 5 people.
Yeah.
If you've only split it to 2, when you can, offer a tithe to the other 3.
Yeah. Okay, good answer.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you can.
Yeah, I can.
Step into that consciousness. I will take a quick question. It is after 9 o'clock now. And I'm usually end class right on time. So, are there any other questions? Yes.
We might ever do some kind of networking or brainstorming or any kind of interactive exercises. I was part of Gift Circle recently, and it was so magical the way that people empowered each other through giving and asking for what they wanted or needed.
Possibly. I'll tell you the reason that I tend to stay away from that and keep it more of a group discussion. Because of the online aspect, that they can't be part of that experience. That's the only reason that I tend to not do those kinds of things, or even do breakout groups. So that's the only reason. I'm not opposed to the idea. It's just trying to keep the engagement of people who are online as well is something I do have to consider. So if you can find a way, actually, if there's a way that we can make that happen for the people online, I'm happy to do something like that.
Can we get them being one small group together?
We can, it's just they can only chat through typing to each other, so it's possible. Also, we want to make sure that they're engaged with the rest of the group, so I would almost mean, too, that somebody here would have to engage so they can see what's going on there, so that they can, let the rest of the group know. So I'm not at all opposed to that idea. But I'll look at the structure of what I prepared and see if I can work something like that in. Great.
Plans for next week or homework for next week?
So the homework is engage in tithing. And do your affirmations.
And
Read the next law, which is setting clear-cut goals. Any other questions? Also, on the blog, which is where the stuff will be, if you want to leave comments, you can actually put comments on there. Just recognize that because of the nature of this course, anything you write on that blog, anybody who logs into our website will have access to see it. Unlike the other classes where it's all behind a password. So just be aware of that if you do want to leave any comments. If you have questions, you can leave them there as well, and I will answer them as quickly as I can. I haven't made this, okay, I'm making the commitment to you now. Because for some reason I've been hesitant to make this commitment, but I will make the commitment to you now. Every single day I will post some new bit of inspiration or information on the blog. Every single day for 21 days. Starting tonight with the affirmations. But I will put something up. And just see what happens. Right? How's that?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. This was I love this. Is so much fun for me. So if you want to go, I'm going to do a quick prayer to close us out. So just take a breath, breathe. Who's ready to receive unexpected income? That's the first hand I saw.
I fell short.
Thank you.
So, let's just take a breath and honor the recognition right here and right now that there is a perfect, unlimited power that is at play in this universe, for it is the universe. And it is who and what each and every one of us is. All of us, each of us, perfect individualized expressions of this creative giving and receiving spirit. I trust and know that this course is perfect in its expression, that what has been gained here for every single participant is good and allows more constructive living, and it all starts right in this moment. And so, I bless the experience, I honor the forward momentum, I honor the perfect evolution of this idea. I am so grateful for this, and I simply turn it over right here and right now to the creative source. As I release this law, I know it is complete, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you all very much. Have a great night.
Amiga, I can drink your coffee too.
Oh, not until either the 21st or 22nd.
So would you like